I don't win that race without Riley Herbst. That is a fact. And I think for me, I respect him even more, on the front stretch for, he pushed me, to the 38. I got to 38, and now I'm in front, the nine's in front of me, and I make my move. And, I love that he made the move that at the moment was right for him to win the Daytona 500. And I told him that, man, I'm sorry it didn't work out for you in the way that you wanted it to, but you did, in my opinion, he did everything right on that last lap as well, pushing me and then doing everything he could to win the race for himself. Obviously, they all crashed, but he did a really good job today as well.
And then anyone that's covered you over the last year, we've seen the emotional roller coaster you've been on, and just professionally and personally, right? So to go through a winless season, to come back here, process that, all the things at home to win the Daytona 500, just what is that like riding that just from inside your shoes?
Yeah, I mean, I never knew when I had the opportunity to race Cup, if I would win Cup races, but when I did, I enjoyed it a lot. And, I had a number of years there where I won multiple races. So to have last year play out the way that it did was rough. Obviously, everything else happening outside of the racetrack was not easy to manage as well with my son. And so to get through all that, and here we go, it's 2026, and go race. I definitely worked really hard in the off season, but it's tough when you don't win. You got all these expectations to win multiple races, be for championships, and we didn't really live up to those last year. So we had a lot of hard conversations in the off season on top of everything else that was going on, and to be able to dig down deep and get recentered, reset, if you will, and come into this year. And I mean, yeah, we didn't have the perfect race, but the last stage went really well for us. It was the kind of execution we've been dying to have on the speedways to win, like we did at Talladega a couple years ago. So to be able to do it the way that we did and just be in the mix at the end is everything we could have asked for. I'm just really proud of how honest everyone at 2311 on my team and in the organization was with each other, having the tough conversations to kind of, work this stuff out so that when we get into 2026, we're not trying to fix 2025 in 2026. We're reset, we're ready to go. And it's one race, certainly, but to do it the way that we did today with the day that we kind of had, it says a lot about the work we put in the offseason.
All right, Jenna, go ahead.
Jenna Fryer, AP. Congratulations, Tyler. Danny was in here talking about a team meeting a few weeks ago that I assume you were at, where he reminded everyone of how happy Michael was when you won Talladega. And he said, you guys are the only ones in the world who have the ability to bring him that joy.
Yes.
What does it feel like to give a guy who's won everything possible to a Daytona 500 win?
It's kind of like what I told him, Matt. It's stuff you dream of as a kid. Now, I definitely didn't look in the future and know that I'd be driving for Michael Jordan in a Cup car, but to be able to have someone like Michael Jordan believe in me enough to want me to drive here, someone like Denny Hamlin to believe in me enough to want me to drive here, and then deliver in these clutch moments, like I've been able to do over the last couple of years. 2025, I didn't, obviously, but to bounce back from that rough year we had last year, and just try and do my best to deliver on the promises that I make to them and vice versa, just to be able to do these great things for Michael, someone that loves racing as much as he does and is passionate about winning as much as I am or Denny is, to be able to come through on those promises and meet those expectations is the type of stuff that you just love to be able to do. And for me, as a kid growing up, I wanted to, be a Cup driver. I wanted to win races in the Cup Series, but to be able to do it for the type of people that I'm able to it just doesn't seem like real life. It doesn't seem like reality. So I'm just trying to do everything I can to soak in the moment, and just really thankful that people like Michael, people like Denny, Curtis, Gene, my whole team, the whole organization believe in me enough to let me strap into the 45 and go out there on the racetrack.
All right, we're going to go to Jeff Gluck here in the far corner.
I feel like probably a lot of the preparation for super speedways comes down to thinking that it's going to be a big pack at the end and making moves with the lines and stuff.
Yeah.
But so this was such a weird one where the pack was broken up and you had like a couple guys out on an island and the runs are coming back and forth. What did you do to adjust, and what was going through your head as you're like, oh, I mean, you're taking a run, but you don't know what, we haven't seen it enough to really know what that kind of stuff does, if that makes sense.
True, but also the nice thing about having the run is the guys that you're catching also don't know what's going to happen either, right? Because they're not used to it as well. So it's nice being the one that has the run. But yes, we've seen a number of races play out where it's 2x2 and you try and surge at the right time, and this was anything but that. And yeah, certainly no one really knows what's going to happen, and I think that's where I was fortunate to be in a position where I had momentum, but also then just trust my instincts. The way this race ended kind of reminds me of Talladega a couple years ago when I was at RCR. It was kind of the same thing, just a very unorthodox ending to the race, and you just kind of trust your gut, you know. I feel like some of these races I've been able to win, whether it's in Cup or in other things in my life, when things get really chaotic, I'm able to just lean on instinct, and things just feel like they happen slow, and I'm able to just, more times than not, get the job done.
Will people go back and watch this and try to learn what happened from this, or are people going to say, this was there's so many things that happened, it's so weird, that was just a weird one?
I mean, in the moment, it felt that way, but after watching the replay once or twice, it's like, man, you know, there's a lot. I mean, it's all very specific, but there's a lot of things that certain drivers did, whether it was Riley or whether it was Zane or even Chase, that kind of set up, you know, the perfect scenario for me to do that. So to some degree, yeah, as a driver, you want to go back and look at this stuff and see what you can learn. But yeah, the way that the whole last lap played out with the crash, you know, with the Spire cars, you know, it makes it very outside of the normal of what we've seen at a place like Daytona.
All right, we're going to go Dan and then Bob. Go ahead, Dan.
Dan Gelston, Associated Press. Tyler, I mean, how is Rookie doing? I mean, there was a big update last year. How is he doing? Was he able to travel? Is this something?
Yeah, he's here. He did great. I mean, he's been. He came home around Martinsville weekend last year. It's just been doing really good ever since he came home. I mean, he was doing good in the hospital too, but yeah, it was really cool. We got to take like a 3-day vacation, do a little Disney cruise out of Canaveral before coming up here on Monday, and it was awesome. Like he's always been kind of crawling, but he started to figure it out on the cruise ship, which was fun. Then basically ever since we've been here in the bus here at the track on Monday on, he's been like a speedster, crawling fast. So he's seen some of the other kids, some of Briscoe's kids, some of the other little ones running around the playground that are probably way less than Rookie. He's a big kid for his age, walking, and he wants to already do that too. So a fun little milestone happened while we were here. He started really crawling fast, and we have to keep up with that, keep him away from the stairs in the bus.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Bob, go ahead.
Bob Pockers, Fox Sports. Was Rookie in Victory Lane? I saw it with Bo was there.
Yeah,
Was,
they both were.
Can you explain the emotions of seeing Rookie in Victory Lane and what that meant to you, and then compare that to seeing Michael Jordan in Victory Lane?
Yeah, we're kind of hitting
what
all
that
of it
meant
at
to you.
once. Yeah. I mean, yeah, basically the way it plays out, I was wondering where my family was as I'm out on the front stretch, you know, doing the interview and everything. I was just ready for my son, like in the duel a couple years ago, to come running across the grass. But my wife and everybody was kind of waiting for Victory Lane. So I didn't see him out there, but when I was rolling up to Victory Lane, I saw Chip while I saw Bo with Chip. Bo jumped in the car, so that was really fun. But yeah, I just remember getting out of the car, and typically I've just been able to focus on Bo and my wife, and it's like, well, Rookie's getting to experience this for the first time too. And Rookie's a trooper, whether it's been the Thunderbirds, blasting over the track, just super loud and stuff I love. I think I remember when Bo was really young, when the Thunderbirds would go over the track or whatever it was, things that were super chaotic, Bo was, okay with, but he'd cry. And like Rookie, he's total opposite. Like the more crazy it is, whether it's from me, whether it's from Bo, whether it's from the Thunderbirds, or just stuff happening around us like in Victory Lane, Rookie loves the stuff. Like the crazier it is, he just starts laughing and just loves it. So he's just, he's wild, like his dad.
Like I'm curious, was it like different emotions to see family versus seeing the basketball?
Yeah,
It's
like-
just an interesting
like-
dynamic. to
Yeah,
me.
yeah. I know what you're saying. Yes, the emotion I shared with my wife, my sons, is it's more reflecting on the personal things that we've went through, the struggles, the hard times, the uncertainties of knowing what's going on with Rookie. Is Rookie going to be okay? What's going on there? So for us to have this moment in this race, again, everything we went through at the tail end of last year and through the off season, getting back under our feet, has its own place. And then over on the other side, right, like with Denny and Michael and my team, for my team, we worked really hard on all these things in the off season to improve it and come out of the gate strong. And well, we did. We won the first points paying race. So, and then with Denny and Michael, it's those two have believed in me for years. They wanted me to be a part of 2311, and so it's a mix of coming through on the promises that I made for them and they made for me type of thing. And they believed in me a lot. Believed in me a lot, and they wanted me to be here, part of 2311 really badly. We made it all work. And these are the type of moments that I'm supposed to deliver on them for, and it's just nice to be able to do that.
All right, we're going to keep going here. Dalton, go ahead.
Hey, Tyler. Dalton Hopkins with Front Stretch. So do you buy Riley Herbst a beer? I mean, how do you thank a guy for pushing you to a Daytona 500 victory?
Whatever he wants, I'll buy it for him. Yeah. Well, me and him will figure it out. He's, I remember when he was, last year, starting the year, we both like coffee a lot. And I was telling him, like, yeah, I really want to have a Jura. We got Keurig machines on the hauler. And I'm like, I don't like drinking coffee out of a plastic cup. And I told him, like, I want to have a nice coffee machine on the hauler. And I said, yeah, like a Jura would be really nice. He's like, oh, I love Jura. So me, like right from the very beginning, he didn't have to. He's a good guy. Me and him split a Jura coffee machine. They're fairly expensive, but freshly ground coffee is way better than coffee in a plastic cup. And I mean, just from day one, he's always been just outstanding. And yeah, I don't know what I can do for him, but whatever it is, I'll make it happen. That's a fact.
And I think if I remember, I saw correctly, you got out of the car initially with Bo on top of it, correct?
Yeah.
That photo is one of the most popular things that comes out of this race, and it's going to be seen all over the world for until the end of time. When people look at this race, when you think of that as a father and getting to share that moment with Bo, and he's old enough to remember this, I mean, how important is that to you to be able to have him with you in that moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's super important. I was standing, in the grass, in front of the start finish line at Daytona. After I just won the Daytona 500, I'm looking for my family. You know what I mean? Like, it's the biggest race you can win as a Cup Series driver, and I'm looking for my family to try to figure out. It's important for me to celebrate it with them. So, on the way to Victory Lane, being able to pick him up, take him with me into the Victory Lane in the car. I mean, that's what it's all about. Yes, I'm the one in the car driving it, but we go on the road as a family. I remember when I was a kid growing up racing dirt, me and my family went on the road. We made, my family, my sister would make their sacrifices to go on the road with us. It's about celebrating the wins as a family. and in the tough times, my son has done a great job of really helping lift my spirits up. I can't think of a specific moment at this time, but there's been plenty of times I've come back to the bus and we're getting ready to go ahead to the plane when I've just been irate or just sad because of something I did on the racetrack. And my son's done a really good job picking me up in those moments too. So we share these moments as a family together. Absolutely.
All right, we're going to continue with questions. We're going to go ahead with John Newby here.
John Newby fan buzz. I don't have the exact way that Denny phrased it, but he said essentially that winning the Daytona 500 and then especially so early in the year would kind of lighten you up to go through the rest of the season and, possibly hit greater heights. I'm just curious, are you kind of conscious of that feeling yourself?
I would say, for me in my career in the Cup Series, I typically come here, go to Atlanta or whatever it is, and crash at both of these places and start really heavy in the hole. Then we go out west and I kind of catch up. So for me, in the grand scheme of things, starting the year off on a good note, winning this race is obviously a big thing, but having a solid point stay, all those things with how this is going to work out this year, it's a big positive. Again, kind of time back into the conversations me and the whole team had in the off season about what we got to improve and correct to be able to come out to a race like this that's so hard to win, and it's easy to kind of get off on the strategy and the execution of. We did a really good job of in the final stage. So we've done a really good job of setting ourselves up for success, and I think this just, if anything, is going to motivate us to work that much harder at the start of this year as we get going.
All right, we're going to go Claire and then Davey over here.
Claire Beeline, Dialed In Journal. When you made your move that won the race and you were thinking about it and you held off just to the right moment, right? After last year, A, did you lose your confidence last year? And then B, it's such a commitment track, you got to go. When you decide to go, you got to go get it. Were you at all thinking, well, what if it doesn't work? And how did you boost the confidence from last year into making a move like that?
They played out very differently to me, the 2 years. But again, I feel like middle of the race, everyone, we kind of had a chat about, we got to do what's best for the 45. And yeah, we're going to work with our Toyota teammates as much as we can. But I was definitely worried about other people a little bit too much. And it was a good time in stage 2 to kind of have that conversation. Because it really set myself up to have a real big shift going into stage 3 of how I'm going to approach the race, the rest of the race, how am I going to approach the end of the race. And so, yeah, for me, I feel like as much as it stung to not really have a good stage 1 and stage 2, it was necessary to have the stage 3 that we did to be able to win the race.
So did you and Riley, you talked about some of the coffee maker and all that, but did you ever have a conversation with him? The manufacturers meet and talk about we're going to work together. Did you ever have that conversation about helping each other, pushing each other? Hey, I'm going to help you. You're going to help me, whatever. Did you have that?
There's been plenty of conversations between, Phoenix at the end of last year and now, but it's pretty much understood. If we see one of our cars and that's that situation, if we're in a position to be able to push one of our own cars, we're going to do it. And he did an outstanding job of it. And again, I love that he did everything he could to help me, but he also helped himself in the process of it. I would have been still happy to win the race if he would have just stuck with me, but I love that he, just like we've talked about, leading up to this race, help your teammate, but also help yourself. And he did the right things to put himself in position to potentially win the race as well. And I respect him a lot for that.
All right, we're going to go Davey and then Steven in the middle. Go ahead, Davey.
Davey Siegel with Sirius XM. Tyler, I don't know how much of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, got that right, and the truck race that you watched this weekend, but it seemed like race control let things play out a little bit more over the course of the weekend. Some incidents in the past that may bring out a yellow, whether it was single or multi-car, they let go green. And one of the wrecks on the last lap, the first one that kind of allowed you to scoot through to have yourself in a good position. Could have triggered a yellow, but it didn't. How aware were you of that? Maybe even going into the race, and in the moment, I'm sure it's very chaotic.
Yeah,
but
I mean, not much in the moment, but across the series, when these things happen, it's typically, yes, you see cars have contact with one another or the wall and then come spinning across the track, but they don't impact the inside safer barrier very hard. And so, yeah, you got cars spinning across the track, but they're off the racing surface. They're kind of out of harm's way. When we come back around, we're only going to run to the start finish line. So, on one hand, yeah, I guess I was surprised because the way that McDowell and Hosfar got together, I was expecting them to hit something harder than they did. But I mean, these cars are pretty draggy. When they get sideways, they do slow down quite a bit. So, I mean, again, once I understood the caution wasn't coming, I moved on to the next thing I needed to do to try and win the race.
you said that no one talked to you on the radio until almost a full cool down lap.
I think they were trying to, but everyone was losing their mind, most likely.
So what were you thinking?
I didn't know if I'd won the race or not. I mean, in the moment, I knew I crossed the start-finish line first. But I did, I don't know if the yellow light was on before I got the start-finish line and Chase was ahead of me. I don't know any of that stuff. Yeah, everyone wrecked, but again, I didn't want to get ahead. I didn't want to get ahead of myself. I didn't want to think I'd won the race and then be told a couple seconds later I hadn't. That'd be devastating, especially after last year running second. So I was just trying to keep myself in check until I knew I'd won.
All right, Stephen, go ahead, and if I can get a microphone to Holly up front, please.
Stephen Toronto, West Toronto 92 Network. Tyler, you've experienced winning at Daytona before between the truck race 2015, the O'Reilly race 2018. Mm-hmm. And so obviously you've experienced what it's like to win a race at Daytona and to feel what that's like. But I'm trying to figure out the best way I can phrase this and not just have it be a road, how does this compare to that? But what is it like to, I guess just compare the feeling of the truck race, the O'Reilly race, and then those compared to the Daytona 500 specifically?
Yeah, I think there's a few ways to look at this, but I think for me, I'm excited for what this year holds. When I won that truck race here, I went on to have a really good fight with Eric Jones for the truck series title that year. Ultimately came up a little bit short. That was my best shot to win a truck series championship on that year. I looked to, the year I was with Junior Motorsports and won that race in dramatic fashion against my teammate and Elliott Sadler. I had a pretty rough year between that point and the Homestead at the end of the year, but we learned a lot together, we grew a lot together, and then we went on to win a championship. So, for me, I'm excited to see what this year holds. Typically, when I've won at Daytona to start the year off, things have come together by the end of the year for me. Things go well, so I'm excited for what that means. But yeah, I never knew where the first place I'd win, a race across the 3 series would be. I thought possibly it could be Vegas, with how I've ran there, in the Cup car in recent years. But for it to happen here, it just seems very fitting.
Gotcha. Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to go to Holly. Go ahead, Holly.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Tyler. Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. The photos that I'm seeing on social media, Michael Jordan is got a grin like I haven't seen him have since he became involved in NASCAR. How aware are you of the joy that you have produced for someone that's already a champion in another sport? It's really something to look at.
Yeah, I'm very aware. It's very fulfilling. These are the kind of things that I wanted to deliver to Michael, to Denny, to Curtis, to the entire ownership group. So, we didn't dominate the race today by any means, but in the clutch moments at the end on the final lap, we found a way to deliver. And so for me, I'm very thankful to be in this position, to have the trust of people like Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin, to be able to drive the 45 and in these situations deliver.
All right, we'll take a question in the back.
Jessica Garcette, Grandstand Magazine. First of all, congrats, Tyler. I actually had the chance to drive a few laps around Daytona this weekend, and I have to say my hat's off to you and to all the drivers. It's a lot harder than it looks. I want to go back a bit and ask you about your first time driving around a track like Daytona. Can you explain your feeling, what you were thinking, and then looking back on that, did you ever think a day like today was possible?
I only dreamed it was possible. I think what year it was, I don't think I'll get right, but I remember I needed to run a test here for Cunningham Motorsports a long time ago to be able to, I had to run the test here in ARCA for Cunningham. I had to run the ARCA race. I think we ran like third or fourth that day to be able to run the Truck Series race the next day for BKR in my first part-time year in the Truck Series. So, yeah, I just remember going out there in that ARCA test and just thinking, man, this is crazy fast, and it just seems so surreal. I've watched so many races here as a kid growing up, and I'm finally on the racetrack, and I'm testing by myself, single car stuff, but nonetheless, it's like I've always dreamed of being able to drive off of turn 4 through the tri-oval and see the stands. Yes, they were empty when I tested here, but just seeing this place, I mean, it's just stuff I dreamed about. So, yeah, never would I know it would lead to me sitting here talking to you guys about winning a Daytona 500, but certainly as a young kid growing up, I always dreamed that hopefully this would one day be reality.
Okay, I know we have one here in the middle. Do you have a question? Go ahead.
Danielle Anderson, Flagler News Weekly. There was a real kind of all-American vibe out there among the fans to this today. Very family-friendly, hometown kind of feel. What would you say to all the young fans that were out there today about their dreams and never giving up?
Yeah, I think for me, I remember it, but I can't tell you what dang year it was, so long ago. But I was racing at Volusia Speedway. I think it was the year Kenseth won the rain shortened race here. But we were racing in Volusia for like my first or second time in a late model, and me and my family, we came out to the racetrack. We parked our toter home, I feel like a mile and a half away from the dang racetrack, but we had tickets on the backstretch grandstand, and our whole family, we went up in the backstretch there, and we watched the race, and I just remember thinking, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. I had the opportunity to go to Bristol and Nashville in years past, but for me, being at Daytona and seeing the Cup cars on the racetrack was just so unreal. Like, I've gotten to watch it on TV, but being here and watching that was just a really cool moment. And it was a shame the race did get rain shortened and everything, but just every time the cars came down the backstretch, I mean, they're moving. I mean, they're going so fast. And it was just a really fun moment to be able to spend with my family. Yeah, it was a shame it got shortened by rain, but we still had a bunch of fun. And I think for me, you never know what the future holds. If you keep your dreams big, if you work really, really hard, obviously you got to make sacrifices along the way as well, whether it's yourself or your family. And everyone in my family put a lot into this. I put a lot into this. My parents, my grandfather, my grandparents, and it just took everyone's teamwork like we had today to make moments like this reality.
All right, I believe Zach had a question right here.
Zach Sterniolo, NASCAR.com. Tyler, congratulations. Are you someone who pays attention to your legacy in the sport at all, and like just kind of